Hello, good evening. I did finish uploading the Hiroshima and Nagasaki, but I put it in wrong read orders because I'm sleepy. I'm always sleeping. So I made some bowl of candy. So I like to read this. That's the aircraft dropping the world first nuclear bomb on Hiroshima and Enola Gate. That's the name of his his mother. Sorry, something wrong with my voice. Because I'm not talking. This is why I'm not talking so much more. Because something wrong with my voice and me. I'm getting old. No, Enola Gate, that's the name of his his mom. That's his his mother. That's a little bit weird to name an aircraft dropping an atomic bomb. To name it after your mom. I not understand that, but let's read about it.
Enola Gate. Coordinates 38.9108 degree N 77.4442 degree W. This is a good article. Click here for more information. Enola Gay called Tibet's waving from the Enola Gay's cockpit before taking off for the bombing of Hiroshima in 1945. Type B-29-45 Mojapur Fortress manufacturer Glen L. Martin Company Omaha, Nebraska manufactured 18 May 1945 serial 44-86292 radio code Victor 12. Later changed to Victor 82, owners and operators United States Army Air Forces in service 18 May 1945 the 24th of July. The Enola Gay /NOL/ is a Boeing B-29 Super Fortress bomber, named after Enola Gay Tibbets, the mother of the pilot Colonel Paul Tibbets. On the 6th of August, 1945, during the final stages of World War II, it became the first aircraft to drop an atomic bomb in warfare. The bomb, codenamed Little Boy, wasted it at the city of Hiroshima, Japan, and caused the destruction of about 3/4 of the city. Enola Gay participated in the second nuclear attack as the weather reconnaissance aircraft for the primary target of Kokura. Cloud storm drifting smoke resulted in Nagasaki, a secondary target being bombed instead. After the war, the Enola Gay returned to the United States where it was operated from Roswell Army Airfield, New Mexico. In May 1946, it was flown to Kwajalein for the Operation Crossroads nuclear tests in the Pacific, but was not chosen to make the test drop at Bikini Atoll. Later that year, it was transferred to the Smithsonian Institution and spent many years parked at air bases exposed to the weather and souvenir hunters, before its 1961 disassembly and storage at a Smithsonian facility in Suitland, Maryland. In the 1980s, veterans groups engaged in a call for the Smithsonian to put the aircraft on display, leading to an acrimonious debate about exhibiting the aircraft without a proper historical context. The cockpit and nose section of the aircraft were exhibited at the National Air and Space Museum, NASM, on the National Mall, for the bombing's 50th anniversary in 1995, amid controversy. Since 2003, the entire listed B-29 has been on display at NASM's Stephen F. Udvar-Hazy Center. The last survivor of its crew, Theodore Van Kirk died on the 28th of July 2014 at the age of 93. World War II. Early history. The Enola Gay, model number B29-45 Mo, N1, serial number 44 to 86,292, Victor number 82, was built by the Glenn L. Martin Company, later part of Lockheed Martin, at its bomber plant in Bellevue, Nebraska, located at Orfute Field, now Orfute. 1946 preserved at National Air and Space Museum S. Stephen F. Udvar Eye Center, Air Force Base. The bomber was one of the first 15 B-29s built to the silver plate specification of 65, eventually completed during and after World War II, giving them the primary ability to function as nuclear weapon delivery aircraft. These modifications included an extensively modified bomb bay with pneumatic doors and British bomb attachment and release systems, reversible pitch propellers that gave marine-braking power on landing, improved engines with fuel injection and better cooling, 2, 3, and the removal of protective armor and gun turrets. 4. Enola Gay after the Hiroshima mission, entering hard stand. It is in its 6th Bombardment Group livery with Victor number 82 visible on fuselage just forward of tail fin. Enola Gay was personally selected by Colonel Paul W. Tibbets Jr., the commander of the 509th Composite Group, on the 9th of May 1945, while still on the assembly line. The aircraft was accepted with United States Army Air Forces, USAF, on 18 May 1945 and assigned to the 393d Bombardment Squadron, Heavy, 509th Composite Group. Crew B-9, commanded by Captain Robert A. Lewis, took delivery of the bomber and flew it from Omaha to the 509th Beseat Wendover Army Airfield, Utah, on 14 June 1945. 5. 13 days later, the aircraft left Wendover for Guam, where it received a bomb bay modification, and flew to Northfield, Tinian, on the 6th of July. It was initially given the Victor, Squadron Assigned Identification, number 12, but on the 1st of August, was given the circular tail markings of the 6th Bombardment Group as a security measure and had its Victor number changed to 82 to avoid misidentification with actual 6th Bombardment Group aircraft. 5. During July, the bomber made 8 practice or training flights and flew 2 missions, on the 24th and the 26th of July, to drop pumpkin bombs on industrial targets at Kobe and Nagoya. Enola Gay was used on the 31st of July on a rehearsal flight 4th actual mission. 6. The partially assembled Little Boy gun type fission weapon L-11, weighing 10,000 pounds, 4,500 kilograms, was contained inside a 41x4 7x138 inch, 100 centimeters 120 centimeters 350 centimeters, wooden crate that was secured top deck of the USS Indianapolis. Unlike the 6 uranium-235 target discs, which were later flown to Tinian on 3 separate aircraft arriving the 28th and the 29th of July, the assembled projectile with the 9 uranium-235 rings installed was shipped in a single lead-lined steel container weighing 300 pounds, 140 kilograms. That was locked tar brackets welded to the deck of Captain Charles B. McVeigh III's quarters. N2. Both the L-11 and projectile dropped off at Tinian on the 26th of July 1945. 8. Hiroshima mission. On the 5th of August 1945, during preparation for the first atomic mission, Tibbets assumed command of the aircraft and named it after his mother, Enola Gay Tibbets, who, in turn, had been named for the heroine of Enola. N3. When it came to selecting a name for the plane, Tibbets later recalled that, "My thoughts turned at this point to my courageous red-haired mother, whose quiet confidence had been a source of strength to me since boyhood, and particularly during the soul-searching period when I decided to give up a medical career to become a military pilot. At Little Boy unit on trailer cradle in pit on Tinian. Before loading into Enola Gay's Bombay, a time when Dad had thought I had lost me marbles, she had taken my side and said, "You know you will be all right, son." 10. In the early morning hours, just prior to the 6th of August mission, Tibet's had a young Army Air Forces maintenance man, Private Nelson Miller, paint the name just under the pilot's window. 11, 12, 5. Regularly assigned aircraft commander Robert Lewis was unhappy to be displaced by Tibet's for this important mission and became furious when he arrived at the aircraft on the morning of the 6th of August to see it painted with now famous nose art. 13. Hiroshima was the primary target of the first nuclear bombing mission on the 6th of August, with Kokura and Nagasaki as alternative targets. Enola Gay, piloted by Tibets, took off from North Field, in the northern Mariana Islands, about 6 hours flight time from Japan, accompanied by 2 other B-29s, the Great Artiste, carrying instrumentation, and a then nameless aircraft later called Necessary Evil, commanded by Captain George Marquardt, to take photographs. The director of the Manhattan Project, Major General Leslie R. Groves Jr., wanted the event recorded for posterity, so the takeoff was illuminated by floodlights. When he wanted to taxi, Tibets leaned out the window to direct the bystanders out of the way. On request he gave a friendly wave for the cameras. 14. Hiroshima explosion. After leaving Tinian, the 3 aircraft made their way swiftly to Iwo where they rendezvoused at 2,440 meters, 8,010 feet, and set course for Japan. The aircraft arrived over the target in clear visibility at 9,855 meters, 32,333 feet. Navy Captain William S. D. Parsons of Project Alberta, who was in command of the mission, armed the bomb during flight to minimize the risks during takeoff. His assistant, Second Lieutenant Morris R. Jepson, removed the safe tie devices 30 minutes before reaching the target area. 15. The release at 8:15 Hiroshima time went as planned, and Little Boy took 53 seconds. 16. To fall from the aircraft flying at 31,060 feet, 9,470 m, to the predetermined detonation height about 1,968 feet, 600 m, above the city. Enola Gay traveled 11.5 mi, 18.5 kilometers, before it felt the shock waves from the blast. 17. Although buffeted by the shock, neither Enola Gay nor the Great Artiste was damaged. 18. The detonation created a blast equivalent to 15 kilotons of TNT, 63 TJ. 19. The U-235 weapon was considered very inefficient, with only 1.7% of its fissile material reacting. 20. The radius of total destruction was about 1 mil, 1.6 kilometer, with resulting fires across 4.4 square miles, 11 square kilometers. 21. Americans estimated that 4.7 square miles, 12 square kilometers, of the city were destroyed. Japanese officials determined that 69% of Hiroshima's buildings were destroyed and another 6-7% damaged. 22. Some 80,000 people, 30% of the city's population, were killed by the blast and resultant firestorm. 23. And another 70,000 injured. 24. Out of those killed, 20,000 were soldiers and 20,000 were Korean slave laborers. 25. Enola Gay landing at its base. Enola Gay returned safely to its base on Tinian to great fanfare, touching down at 2:58 p.m. after 12 hours 13 minutes. The Great Artiste and Necessary Evil followed at short intervals. Several hundred people, including journalists and photographers, had gathered to watch the plane's return. Tibbets was first to disembark and was presented with the Distinguished Service Cross on the spot. 18. Nagasaki mission. The Hiroshima mission was followed by another atomic strike. Originally scheduled for the 11th of August, it was brought forward by 2 days to the 9th of August owing to a forecast of bad weather. This time, a nuclear bomb codenamed Fat Man was carried by B-29